recap. When we were talking about one dimension motion, what were we doing? We for displacement, what notation did we use? Like suppose delta x is my displacement. Then I use that x2 minus x1 used to be my notation for displacement. And if I had to write about what is the velocity of the object in terms of displacement, now can you tell me the expression for velocity?
dx by dt.
Velocity was dx by dt, right? And if I had to term, so this is instantaneous velocity or average velocity, which I've written.
Instantaneous.
This is my instantaneous velocity, which I have written. So if I had to write average velocity, I would write it as delta x by delta t. In the limit tending to delta t tending to 0, this reduces to dx by dt. Fine. If I had to talk about acceleration, then acceleration was, the notation used was
dv by dt.
dv by dt, or I could have written d2x by dt2. Again, this is my instantaneous acceleration. If I had to look at average acceleration, that would be delta v by delta t. And in limit delta t tending to 0, this reduces to my instantaneous acceleration. Okay, so this was notation which we were using in one dimension when we were discussing one dimensional motion mathematically. Okay, so let's see what is the notation that we are going to use in when we are talking about motion in two dimensions. So just look at this graph. Okay, so suppose we have one particle, it is moving in two dimensions. So here I have taken xy plane. It could have been yz plane or xz plane. Okay, just for convenience I've taken xy plane. So it is the object is moving along a curved path. So at first instant of time, say t1, it was at point P, and the displacement vector for point P, because now it's two dimension, we have to talk about displacement along the x direction as well as along the y direction. Earlier only one notation was used. Delta, we used only x2 minus x1 to denote displacement. But now there is going to be change along the x-axis also, and there is going to be change along the y-axis also. So initial position of particle is say pxy, and after some time it goes to point P prime. So there x prime, y prime. Let's say this is the final position of the object. So corresponding to initial position, we have vector r. Corresponding to final position, we have vector r prime. So now the displacement vector delta r prime, sorry, displacement vector would be delta r, not delta r prime. So displacement vector delta r can be written as, look at it in terms of triangle law. How do we get delta r?
R prime minus R.
It would be r prime minus r. Basically, delta r is your displacement vector. This is in terms of position vector. So this is the final position. This is the initial position. Okay. So this is r prime refers to the final position vector, and r is the initial position vector. And when we subtract the two, we get our displacement vector. Okay, and this vector is also pointing in the direction of the net displacement. Okay, so delta r, if you look at the direction of delta r, that gives you the direction of displacement of the object. So net displacement is along delta r vector. Fine. So if I have to write delta r vector in terms of x and y components, then I can write delta r as delta x I hat plus delta y j hat. This is delta x. Look at along the x axis. This is the change in position along the x axis. Delta y is the change in position along the y axis. So delta x I hat I am using to denote that this is the change in position along the positive x axis. J hat I am using to denote that this is the change in position along the unit vector along the y axis. Fine. So we are going to stick to this notation for displacement vector when we're talking about 2 dimensions. Next is how do we represent velocity in 2 dimension? Obviously, if we are using vector notation for displacement, we use vector notation for velocity also. Now again, refer to the diagram. We have 4 figures, A, B, C, and D. Now this bold black line, it is representing the path of an object. So the object is moving along this curved path. So you can see the initial vector r, final position vector r1. Now delta r1 is your displacement vector. So we know what would be the direction of velocity vector. Direction of velocity is same as the direction of displacement of the object. So in this case, the velocity vector will have the same direction as the net displacement vector. Fine. Now if we keep on reducing the time, so look at figure B, we have reduced the time. In figure 3, again, we have still reduced the time. So if we look at the figures closely, if we keep on reducing the time, ultimately, what will happen to the velocity vector? It's already shown in figure 4, but I want you to analyze it. What has happened to the velocity vector? What is it denoting?
It will tangent.
Yes, it becomes basically a tangent to the path of the object. So the velocity vector has become almost a tangent to the path of the object. Okay, and this concept we are going to use many a times. Whenever an object is having circular motion or curved motion, the velocity vector is drawn as a tangent to the path. So now we know the reason why is it drawn as tangent to the path. So we can see how can we say that it's a tangent to the path? We just keep on reducing the interval and we see that the displacement vector would obviously be along the change in position vectors. So if we look at the change in position vector, the displacement vector basically becomes a tangent, and that's the reason that velocity vector, which is along the direction of the displacement vector, that becomes almost a tangent to the path, tangent to the curve. Understood? Because we are going to use it many places. How it becomes a tangent to the curved path.
Yes, ma'am.
So initially we took a longer interval. So this was a longer interval. Please note that delta R1 is going to be change in position. So we are superimposing R1 and then we take minus R. So here it is, you might think that triangle law has been used incorrectly, but it's actually not, because delta R1 is basically going to be R1, that is the final position, minus R. Here in the figure you are able to see only R. As that's how the direction of delta R1 will be as shown in the figure. Okay, we have to superimpose minus R. 11th, any confusion or I can move forward? Hanji beta, you have to give me some indication that yes, you're there.
Yes. Yes, ma'am.
या तो कुछ भी समझ नहीं आ रहा है या सब कुछ ऑलरेडी पता है. Either of the scenarios just give me an indication कि हाँ you're there.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, now if I have to talk about acceleration in 2 dimensions, acceleration we already know it is the rate of change of velocity. Fine. So okay, let's look at the notation that we use for velocity also. So velocity vector can be represented as, if I am talking about average velocity, it would be this delta R by delta T. If I have to take the instantaneous velocity, then it would, we will take the limit delta T tending to 0 and this reduces to dr by dt, which is nothing but same as, for R vector, I can write delta x I hat plus delta y j hat divided by delta t. So again, if I use the limit delta t tending to 0, this would reduce to my expression dx by dt I hat plus dy by dt j hat. Now dx by dt is nothing but your instantaneous velocity along the x direction. So I can write it as vx I hat plus dy by dt would be your instantaneous velocity along the y direction. And this gives me my velocity vector in 2 dimensions. If I talk about acceleration, now again, look at the directions of velocities are already marked. So they have taken tangent to the curve at that point. So we have velocity vector at point P, velocity vector at point P1. If I have to find out what is going to be my acceleration, direction of acceleration, then I superimpose. So I draw V vector. I am just displacing the vector parallel to itself. So this is V vector. Now, if this is V prime, then somewhere here along this direction would be your minus V prime. And the change in 2, the change between, we know that acceleration is change in velocity divided by the time taken. So here we are getting the change in velocity vector delta V along this direction. Okay, again we have used the triangle law of vector addition. So this gives me, this delta V vector is giving me the direction associated with acceleration of the particle. Again, in second figure, if this is figure 1, if we look at second figure, that is 2, we have reduced the time interval. If we reduce the time interval, the velocity vector, the change in velocity vector basically again would come out like this. In third instant, again the interval has been reduced further. If we keep on reducing the intervals, ultimately we arrive at this diagram. Okay, so we can see that acceleration has become almost perpendicular to the velocity vector. So आपको ये ध्यान रखना है that velocity vector, when we are talking about direction associated with velocity vector, it would be the same as displacement vector, like we discussed in this case. जो भी delta r की direction होगी, that would be the direction that would be taken by the velocity vector. Same. If I talk about direction velocity vector, then in that case the change in velocity vector is going to give me acceleration. Now it is no longer along the velocity vectors because we are looking at change in velocity. So acceleration vector is never going to be in the same direction as the velocity vectors. Velocity vector will always be along the displacement vector, but acceleration vector will never be along the velocity vector. From in a nutshell, you have to remember this. Is that clear? That velocity vector, acceleration vector, why is acceleration vector never in direction of velocity vector?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So we can see from this diagram that velocity vector and acceleration vector are always bound to be in different directions because acceleration would be the change in velocity vector. Now these questions we have already discussed, so I'm not going there. Okay, this is we have already done similar kind of questions for one-dimensional motion. So let's do a simple one because it's from NCERT. I don't want to leave it. So they have given you a position vector where t is in seconds and coefficients have the proper units for r to be in meters. You have to find the velocity and acceleration of the particle. So velocity would obviously be the differential of this expression, that is differential of your displacement vector, and acceleration would be the double differential of this vector. So what would be dr by dt?
Ma'am, 4t plus 3.
It was 4t plus 3. Okay, yes. So differentiating the first coefficient, it would just give me 3i hat, right? It would just give me 3i hat plus it's 2t square. So it becomes 4t j hat plus, because this is a constant, 0 k hat. So my final expression becomes 3i hat plus 4t j hat. For the acceleration vector, if I have to see,
4j.
Ma'am, then it will be 4j cap.
it is 4j cap. Okay. Now you have to find the magnitude and direction of velocity at t equals to 3 seconds. So basically it means now what we do, we put in the expression, we put t equals to 3 seconds. So what do I get? I get velocity vector reduces
15.
to 3i hat plus 12 j hat, right? It is 3i hat plus 12 j hat. Now, next they are asking is, so if I have to find out the magnitude, it would be under root 3 square plus 12 square. So 9 plus 144. So it's
Under
going
root
to
153.
be 53. It is going to be under root 153 meter per second. Now the second part of the question of part B says direction of velocity. at t equals to 3 seconds. Now आपका दोनों आपको वो दे रखे हैं. You can see that these are rectangular components. Velocity vector is given as 3i hat and 12j hat. This is your velocity component. 12j hat and 3i hat. So from here you can calculate tan theta. Tan theta would be perpendicular upon base, or we can say y component divided by x component. So it would be 12 by 3 or 4. That would be theta would be tan inverse 4. Got that or not?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So we can find the magnitude. We have found the magnitude and we have found the direction associated with velocity vector. So next we come to relative velocity in 2 dimensions. Now, when we were discussing one-dimensional motion, we have already discussed the concept of relative velocity. Now, how do we understand the same in 2 dimensions? So it's very simple that if we were taking that it is the velocity of an object when two objects are in relative motion, means one is moving with respect to the other, then the velocity perceived by them for each other changes. So this perceived velocity is called as relative velocity. So if object A is moving with velocity VA and if object B is moving with velocity VB, in one dimension we simply saw that velocity of A as perceived by B or velocity of A as seen by B would be VA minus VB. Now velocity of B with respect to A would be velocity. This would be velocity of B as seen by A. So how will A perceive the motion of B? So it was velocity B minus velocity of A. Now the same thing we can replicate in 2 dimensions by use of vectors. So how do we have already learned vector addition. So if I have to superimpose vectors, suppose I want, so now instead of working with individual values of velocity, I will start working with the vector A and vector B. So if I have to superimpose two velocities, say object A is moving along the x-axis and object B is moving along the y-axis. And now I have to calculate velocity of A as perceived by B. So how will B see the motion of object A? So for that, what do I do? Because I have to do vector addition now. What would be VA minus VB in this case? So VA remains the same, but I have to add, I cannot add, if I just calculate this, if I take their vector addition, this vector is giving me what? Is it giving me, is it going to give me the change in relative velocity of A with respect to B? Will it give it relative velocity of A with respect to B to me? This closing side of the triangle, what is it going to give me? Will it give me relative velocity of A with respect to B?
No, ma'am.
It is going to basically give me only VA plus VB. Okay, it is not going to give me VA minus VB. So to find the value of VA minus VB, what do I need to do? I need to take the negative of vector B and superimpose it on A. So if I have to take VA minus VB, then what do? I add them like this. Now I have taken VA and this is negative of vector B. So now if I add them, now the closing side, this will give me VA minus VB. This will give me relative velocity of A as perceived by B. Got it? How we are finding the
Yes.
relative velocity of A with respect to B?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So now if I have to take, so this was my VA and this was my VB. Now suppose I have to find out VBA, that is velocity of B as seen by A. Now what do I do?
Ma'am, now we'll change the direction of VA.
Now we will superimpose, so we will keep VB as it is, as it was, and now we change the direction of vector A. So now the change in direction of vector A would be here. Now to apply triangle law, how do I shift? I shift it to this place. Okay, like this I won't be able to apply my triangle law. So I shift it like this, right? So this is my VA, this is my VB, and now the closing side in opposite order. This will give me VB minus VA. Okay? So can you see the difference? If our VA minus VB, so this was VA and this was minus VB, it was coming in this direction. This is VA minus VB and this is VB minus VA. The magnitude of these two vectors is going to be same, but you can see the vectors cannot be called as same because their directions are totally different. One direction is along the southeast direction, the other direction is along the northwest direction. Got it?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So we can say that relative velocity in two dimensions, we can easily see that magnitude of the velocities is going to be same. VAB, the magnitude of the vectors are going to be same, but VAB is in no way going to be same as VBA. Okay, it is bound to be different. Right? So with this, if I have to look at it mathematically, what would my formula change to? So velocity of A with respect to B, the formula would change to under root VA square plus VB square. It used to be 2VA VB cos theta for vector addition, if you remember, for parallelogram law or triangle law. So here we will use, instead of plus, here it will become minus 2VA VB cos theta. So for relative velocity, the formula changes to this. Similarly, if I want to find out the angle of the resultant, it would be VB sin theta upon VA minus VB cos theta. There used to be plus sign here for addition. So, but when we are taking the relative velocity, the formula changes. Basically, you have to understand that we are superimposing the negative of a vector. So with this, we come to one very popular problem, that is rain and man problem. So if a man is moving while it is raining, then the man needs to keep their umbrella inclined at an angle, even if the rain is falling vertically downwards. Okay? So what's the reason why the man needs to hold the umbrella at an angle? Because what will happen, the velocity of rain as experienced by man would be different. He is not experiencing VR. What he experiences is the relative velocity of rain, that is VRM. ठीक है. अच्छा, अब मुझे बताइए, if the man is just standing straight, he is not moving, and there is a wind blowing, does the problem remains the same?
Yes, ma'am.
Is it still a problem on relative velocity?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Think about it. The answer is no. Because in that case, here he is experiencing relative velocity. In that case, he experiences resultant velocity due to the, so obviously you would perceive that the effect is similar, but it's actually not. Here we are superimposing. So man is moving forward, rain is falling downward. So if I want to find out the velocity of rain with respect to man, what do? Velocity of rain with respect to man would be velocity of rain minus the velocity of man. Okay? So what I've done, man was moving forward, so I have taken the negative of his velocity minus Vm and then superimpose. But when the wind is blowing, the wind is causing there is actual a change in velocity. Understand that. When a wind is blowing, the rain will not be able to fall vertically. Will it be?
No, ma'am.
है ना, तो वहां पे एक्चुअली वेलोसिटी चेंज होती है, उसको लग नहीं रहा होता. इधर वेलोसिटी एक्चुअली नहीं चेंज हो रही. अंडरस्टैंड दिस. Here rain is actually falling downward, but because of his motion, it appears to be slanted. But when there is a wind blowing, the rain is not able to fall vertically. There the motion, there the question becomes to that of, it reduces to that of resultant velocity. What he will experience in that case would be resultant velocity. Here he will experience relative velocity. So if you are asked at what angle he should hold the umbrella, then the angle at which he should hold the umbrella would be tan theta. You can see from the diagram, tan theta would be equal to velocity of man divided by the velocity of rain.
Ma'am,
हाँ जी.
ma'am, can you please again tell what is the difference between the resultant velocity and the relative velocity situation?
Okay, see, in relative velocity, what I'm doing is I am superimposing the negative of the velocity of man onto the velocity of rain. ठीक है?
Yes,
आप
ma'am.
देखो, है ना? So velocity of man was in the forward direction. So what I did was to find out the relative velocity, I have taken a negative of his velocity and then added it up to the velocity of the rain to get the relative velocity. Here I am finding the relative velocity. But जब अगर आपको ऐसा क्वेश्चन होता है that wind is blowing at 12 meter per second and rain is falling vertically at 5 meter per second. So what is the velocity? What is the velocity of or at what angle should you hold the umbrella and all that stuff? ठीक है? तो in that case आप ये देखिए कि when the wind is blowing, this is velocity of the wind. ठीक है? तो विंड क्या करेगी, रेन को एक्चुअली अपने साथ लेकर जाएगी. ऐसा तो नहीं है कि सिर्फ आपको लगेगा. ठीक है? इन दैट केस समवेयर हियर वुड बी द रिजल्टेंट वेलोसिटी. ठीक है? अगर विंड ऐसे ब्लो कर रही होती 12 मीटर पर सेकेंड एंड रेन ऐसे कर रही होती तो समवेयर हियर वुड बी द रिजल्टेंट वेलोसिटी. राइट? The diagram might end up looking similar, but understand the concept. क्योंकि फॉर्मूला थोड़ा सा डिफरेंट हो जाता है आपका उसमें जब आप वेलोसिटी ऑफ मैन अभी मैंने आपको वेलोसिटी उसमें बताया था दैट व्हाट डज द फॉर्मूला रिड्यूसेस टू इट रिड्यूसेस टू va square plus vb square minus 2va vb cos theta. ठीक है तो you have to understand that when there is a rain and wind problem then the velocity experienced by the person standing who is not moving is the resultant velocity of the rain and the wind. Whereas when the man himself is moving, then for others the rain is falling straight, but only for him the angle seems to change because of his own velocity. Okay, so in that case, what he experiences, or what do we calculate in that case? We calculate velocity of rain with respect to man. He is first discussing a one-dimensional motion. Okay, that both are moving along the they are either moving in the same direction or towards each other. So in this case, we need not take into two-dimension motion into account. Okay, because this is a problem of one-dimensional. So now look at this example. So the sheep is coming from as shown in the diagram. So they are coming perpendicular to each other. So now we are talking about motion in a plane. So sheep is moving with the velocity of 4 meters per second and lion is moving with a velocity of 3 meters per second. So now let's see what is the velocity of sheep as seen by the lion. So अगर अब हम इधर velocity of sheep as seen by lion अगर हम 4 minus 3 करेंगे तो that won't be correct. So basically what will happen? As the lion is moving forward, उसको sheep पीछे आती हुई दिखेगी and sheep का अपना motion उस पे superimpose होगा. Because he is moving forward, he will perceive as sheep is coming backward with a speed of 3 meters per second. And also because sheep is actually moving forward. So दो motion superimpose हो जाएंगे. Because of his own motion, he perceives as if the sheep is moving backward. And because the sheep is moving forward also. So now the perceived velocity would be a combination of both the velocity, one along the y-axis, one along the x-axis. So the sheep has moved for him, for the lion, the sheep has moved forward also and downward also. And that's why whenever we are calculating relative velocity, we superimpose the negative of the velocity with respect to which we are trying to find out. क्योंकि जब आप आगे चल रहे होते हैं तो आपको सारी चीजें पीछे आती हुई दिखती है. So for him, for the lion, the sheep seems to be moving along the direction of this purple arrow. So now you can see how the lion is going to perceive the motion of the sheep. For him, the sheep seems to be moving backward also because he himself is moving forward. And obviously, because the sheep is moving forward, so that motion is bound to be there. So the net resultant or the relative velocity perceived by him will be a combination of these two velocities, one along the y-axis with which the sheep is moving and one along the x-axis negative to the direction in which he is moving.